Hello and welcome and happy Friday. Thanks very much for coming by. I hope you had a great Friday, or I hope you're having a good Friday, and I hope you had a great week. I had a pretty busy one. I had a bunch of stuff that I worked on the diorama, and I also got a video out. So I'm thrilled. I finally finished my video review of Diorama's lighting system. So that comes out tomorrow. So and I really appreciated that opportunity, and it was pretty excited. So what I'm going to show you today is what work I did in conjunction with doing that editing all week. I also got a chance to build some pretty fun parts of the diorama. So I'm gonna swap it over here, and I'm gonna show you the different parts that I worked on. So I don't know how this is coming across, and if maybe my labels are too big or too small, but I wanted to kind of give an overview now of the diorama, how it's coming along. And so here on the left-hand side, at the very, very top, I've got the upright man's office, and that's the kind of the spans the two buildings there. The building on the left is basically Barrett's coffee house because it's the basement and two floors. But then the third floor is Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe accountants. They're up there. If you look on the right-hand side of that, you see that the warehouse, it's Rue's warehouse. Now, who is Rue? Rue is Rupert, and he's like the main guy in the story that I'm pulling this from. But the whole story, again, and I like to remember or remind folks about this every once in a while, the main story is all built off of these books. And this is the first book in this decades long fascination that I've had and love of this writer, Raymond E. Feist. I picked up this book. This is not the original. That has since, gone to Never Neverland. But I first picked up this book in the mid '80s. I was in Germany at the time, and I picked up this book after reading another of Raymond Feist's books called Fairy Tale. Another book, completely different genre, and I don't know if he's done any others like that. I've not seen them, but Fairy Tale was an amazing book, more kind of like John Saul and all that kind of stuff, and V.C. Andrews, kind of those weird, some kind of psychological but magical, real magical element and stuff, neat book. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, Raymond Feist has a book called Fairy Tale, came out in the '80s, great book. So I read that, loved his writing. And that's the thing about specific authors, for me at least. I love the way that this person writes, I guess. Yeah, just right. There's like a really cool name for it, but because I don't know these cool names, I can't tell you. But yeah, wonderful writer. So in building his stories and building this world that I came to love since the '80s, I had all these images in my mind, and these images are in this diorama. This D&D diorama is directly from those books that I read so long ago, and still enjoy reading today. So that's what we're looking at here. So Rupert Avery is building this warehouse on the left-hand side. I don't know how that works reverse wise and stuff. But when we turn it around, we can see, and I've got my logo in there, but we'll take another look at it. We've got a new area called Kulgan's Arcanum. And we're going to talk a little bit where that name came from and stuff like that. Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, there's the offices inside. You can't see from the front. And then Barrett's Coffee House, Barrett's Basement. And then down here, it's kind of hard to see, but it's Macros's Apothecary. So Macros the Black, this very mysterious, some think evil in the world, magician, like the best magician in the world, in this world, in actually multiple worlds. But he's actually a good guy, but he delves into the dark side because he has to know all magic because of what his particular mission is. Okay, so that's his area, and so we're not gonna look at that today, but I just wanted you to kind of see from the labeling. Now we're going to look at this. So that right-hand side, this is Rue's Warehouse. I did a lot of work in Rue's Warehouse this week. So the top area is called a loading bay, but it's also an escape route. Then the middle floor has high value items. It's like gold and booty and stuff like that. Then there's the main floor, the main entrance, and then there's below that is an oubliette. And so I'm going to talk about all of that today. And then we'll go and see, here's that tighter view, to Kulgan's Arcanum. This is now going to be not like Macros the Black, his kind of like, you know, he goes into sketchy stuff in his stuff. But Kulgan is an advisor to the prince and, you know, kings and stuff like that, and dukes, actually dukes, not prince. Well, anyway, it goes further in. But that's Macros. And so he's like a trusted part of the royalty. So that's the room that I'm designing. And it's really fun because he's a main character and he's fantastic. He's the guy that's on the cover of the book. Now, the first thing I started working on last week in that area was a semaphore. Now, I've got these little symbols up here because some people may not understand what a semaphore is. A semaphore is just flags communicating with symbols and stuff, and that's what this picture is. That's the alphabet using semaphore flags. Well, what I did is I wanted something in the top of this warehouse, this little area here, so that in the storyline, you can come into this room from the upright man's office. It's this office to the left of what we're looking at right here. And if you come out into that escape area, you can fling these doors open. You can grab certain flags and from this little barrel here, and then you can throw those doors open. You know, you set them in the doors, throw those doors open, and then it signals, you know, to people what your intentions are or whatever has to happen. Now, this is all going on, you know, upstairs in this building. This is a harbor town, so there's a harbor, like basically where I'm sitting here, you know, because there's the sea wall is right here. So this can be signaling out to the bay, it can be signaling down to the streets, it can be signaling to a ship or a boat or something like that. There's also, if you look in there, you're looking down the pipe of a ballista. That ballista can actually fire a rope to a target on a ship, and then you could like do a zip line, you know, from this area, you know, down to a ship as an escape. And that's, you know, what I'm trying to do. This is for playing a D&D diorama campaign on. You know, this is the bottom and that stacks on top of it. And so what I'm doing with all these little things that I'm putting in here are giving a DM options, so that you can figure out where the story's going to change, what elements you want in the story. I'm not saying this has to happen. I'm saying this is an option for the DM to build the story. And so that's what I did. I just worked more on that today, or this week. So I added those semaphores. That's fun. The flags do come out. You can switch them around. They do have different symbols and things like that. You know, 2 black flags, 2 red flags. Some of the flags have markings, like the yellow flag has, oops, not what I was trying to do. The yellow flag has like some markings on it. So you've got 2 different yellows. So anyway, I thought that was kind of fun. And I really liked that idea. Now, the next thing I had to do is get the gear for that upper loading bay. So Ghost was helping me. This is fun. He's starting to kind of get a little bit more comfortable. Oscar, for years, would sleep right next to me while I was modeling on the bench, and it was great, of course. And since Oscar's passing last year, Ghost has slowly started to kind of get used to stuff. So he's doing this, and that was fun. So he stayed there for a long time. He stayed there for about 20 minutes and slept. That little piece of foam that he's laying on, that's kind of his pillow. He likes that. It's just an old piece of scrap foam that I was cutting something out of, and he took it, and that's his little pillow. But anyway, what I got down here is a board for making a cargo net. Now, I've made cargo nets before But this one was kind of unique, and it kind of looks like the real cargo net that you would do. So let's go back to here. So in here, I have a pulley set up. I tied that off to the beam. That beam has been set there from the top or from the very start of it. I did have the question this week, was this something that was planned? Yeah, this has been planned the whole while. I didn't know I would have the ladder, and we're going to get to the ladder today because I thought that was really fun. But all of this kind of thing was planned out from the beginning. I built that ballista a long time ago. That ballista I probably built 4 or 5 months ago. So this whole thing was planned, and I even did, that pulley that's hanging there. I built that months ago, and it's just been knocking around for forever. Well, the beam that I'm trying to tie it off to here now, that was put in place for expressly this idea. So here is the net after I first pulled it off of that little jig that I was working on, but it wasn't complete. The weave wasn't tight enough. So it's kind of hard to see here, but I started then weaving additional strands in there, and then I finally got to this. And so that's what you're going to see on a regular, cargo net. In the middle of it, it's a little denser, or the weave is a little bit tighter. And I had to do that, and I did film it, but I had to basically sew that rope in there with like it's like a net darning net needle, for net making. That's what I used to make this. And so it worked out really nice. And I like how it works. It hangs properly, and it looks like it's really got the look that I was going for. So made the cargo net. Then when it was all strung up, I've got everything in here. It actually physically works, and so that was really nice. So now I can raise and lower stuff from the street up into that higher area. Also, if you're trying to escape, you can grab those ropes and just shinny down the ropes. So just another way for someone to escape from there, or possibly even get up in there. So I'm just, again, trying to give more options to the Dungeon Master when they're creating their campaign. So next we have the ladder. So now I'm using the same picture I just was working with, but I wanted to zoom in because it's the only picture that I have recently of that ladder that it's not doing something. I built the ladder quite a long time ago. It's been, bopping around for a long time. But I put tracks to hold it. And then what I could do then is have it suspended up and then slide down, or put away so you can't get into that middle room. Because if you look in the corner of that middle room, that has gold and booty. But it's the only way to enter into that room is to come up that ladder. Well, the ladder isn't always in a down position. I want it always in an up position, but then you have to do something to lower it. So I made these little tracks, and then to keep it on the tracks, I put this little wire on the back of the ladder. So this is behind the ladder now. And then I had to put these little props in there to hold it so it didn't just like break out. And then I cut this little piece of aluminum. It's really tiny. It's I don't know. Well, it's about 1/8 of an inch round diameter. And then that goes back to the slide, and then that little wire goes in there. So now it can slide up and down. Here I'm putting the catch in. This is the catch that I built for it. So this is a little mechanical catch that will hold the ladder. It goes in like this. There's a little counterweight to the left, and it also has a little foot pedal. Now, I don't know if you saw the video of this, but I have a video of this online, a short, where it shows this working. And so it is in the up position. You hit the catch with your foot, and it drops it. And I don't have ready a video to show you that. I guess I could get one, but let me see if I can work on that, and we'll see it. But there is one online. I've already posted that. So I didn't have any video while we're looking today. Let's go back to this. So Kulgan's Arcanum. Now, this was kind of fun. I had some wonderful folks calling because I didn't have any idea what what to call a wizard's room or a wizard's. See, that's the thing. I'm like, what do you call it? Well, I had some great folks call in or comment in and say magician's study, which I really liked. That was it. Or arcane workshop. And so there was that first arcane thing. And I'm thinking of the Nick Cage movie. I can't, Sorcerer, the I can't remember, but it's the Disney movie, and they had Arcana Cabana, and I always liked that room and that part of the movie. I thought it was fantastic because all the cool stuff in that room, Arcana Cabana, but that wasn't quite it. You know, something it just didn't sound right. But the other one that came up was Wizards Arcanum from Yeshua Gunther, and I'm like, that's it. I love Wizards Arcanum. And then I looked it up, and actually, that does fit really properly for the room because Arcanum, it relates to that kind of work, but a secret kind of study or a secret room, something like that. So I just love it. So thank you, Yeshua. That's perfect. And that is going to be the name. And obviously, I've called it that now multiple times. But yeah, so it is now Kulgan's Arcanum. And I love the sound of that. You know, it's like there's stuff going on in there you're not 100% sure. So let's go back and look at it and what I did to it. Here is that large attic before I did anything to it. I mean, it's all built up, and I had a lot of ideas of what to do in there, but nothing solidified. And then when I came up with the idea of, making it, for Kulgan, making it a place for him, that did it, and really, really happy about it. So that's what I started with. I took a bunch of wood, started putting in flooring, and it maybe doesn't come out here, but this flooring is gorgeous. I mean, it's like you'd want it in your home. It's just this wood, and I use this special property for ebonizing it, and it just came out gorgeous. It looks really nice. So I did the entire attic portion of it, and so all the attic is now got a floor in it. And then this is probably won't make sense to anybody, but this is like the leading edge of the roof. And what I'm talking about is here, the leading edge of the roof used to have this little gap in there, and you could see light coming through. So I close that up. It's a soffit block is what it is. So I did the soffits because there's just some stuff you have to do. There it is now. And now I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be somebody's room. This is going to be, wizards in here. And I just didn't think this blank floor was right. So I wanted to build a little loft. So this is some oak, and I started building a little loft. Used some of the same flooring. And then this is some railing that I had from one of the other floors. I cut that railing in here, and so now we've got this nice little loft space. Those are some stairs that I've literally had for 3 years bopping around in the office or in the shop here. That now is going to be a nice little up area. This little set of shelves, I will put scrolls in. That's going to be full of scrolls. And I also have some books and things that I can put in there, but I have to build a desk. But I just love the look of it now. I think it looks really, really fun and not just this blank, big open area, which I wasn't 100% sure. Previously I was thinking I might have to have I don't know if it's here. It's a power pack. Yeah, it is. This is a power pack, a separate power pack that uses AA batteries for powering the lighting system in there. And so originally I had this little thing where I was going to put this power pack up in the attic just for power. I mean, I can still do it, but it's not necessary because I rerouted all my wiring and stuff like that and the lighting inside the diorama, so it doesn't need it. But without having that in there, I had this big open blank area that I just had to do something with. And I do honestly love the look of this. And I think it's great. Now, one of the other suggestions somebody had was pigeons, which is great because I have some old pigeons from my World War I British bunker diorama that I did in 2019, for criminy sakes. And that I had pigeons in, carrier pigeons. And so I'm going to take some of those because I have about 6 left over, and I'll make a little pigeon loft up in this area over here. So this is Kulgan's area. The Arcanum is in here. Then there's that little pass through, and then there's a little area over here, which is for the upright man's office, which is here, and this warehouse is for Rue, again, characters from the books. And so that is all going to be able to be used as like communications and stuff like that, and secret communications, because you can let the pigeons out and nobody knows. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I had a great week doing it. So it was pretty fun. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, just briefly, was last week during the live stream, I had a gentleman contact me afterwards and said, "Hey, what about helping me with one of my diorama bases?" And so that was great. And it works out wonderfully because I'm building classes along those lines. So I'm helping people online now, build their own dioramas and terrain, and you've built this great model, but you're kind of not sure where to start with your diorama. Well, contact me. I'm helping you do that, and it's a lot of fun. I've been doing this for a long time, and with this one finishing up, because I'm just about done, I am now going to be doing some smaller dioramas, like I did for my P40, like I've done other dioramas. And in those, I'll be building some content so that you can learn how to do the stuff that I do, which is kind of fun. So that's about it today, folks. Thank you so much for being on. If you didn't get a chance to see it, it's also replay tomorrow. But also tomorrow, I have a review of the lighting system that I used in here, the Dioramo lighting system, because they sponsored the lighting of the diorama. So I guess they sponsored this video too. But they sponsored the lighting in the diorama. And so I'm going to do my review of using it, because it's been 6 months now that I've used this lighting. And I think I got a pretty good opinion about how well it works and things like that. So that is coming out tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's a long form video, and it'll tell you all about my experience with using the diorama lighting system. And I'm super excited about it because, hint, I really liked it. It's a good system. It's being, because my background was, manufacturing, 30 years of manufacturing, I really enjoyed talking directly with the guy that came up with the system. I didn't just buy this off the shelf. I was contacted and said, "Hey, can you evaluate this?" and stuff like that. And I said, "Yeah." And so he sent me the stuff, and and then I got to, talk to him about the process and how he's going about his QA, all that kind of stuff that I did in QA and I did in manufacturing and I did in manufacturing systems and stuff like that. So I really had a great time with Dioramo, and yeah, I'll show you in the video tomorrow. So thank you so much. Hey, thanks, Paul, for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.